Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Pabs, Rising VTuber and an artist, and today we are starting our participation in Art Fight. Let's fucking go! Oh hell yeah! Hello, Acres Oakshot, how you doing? Hey, how's it going? I think were you playing the Fist of the North Star RGG game? I remember seeing that and it looked really cool. I've listened to some of the soundtrack too. It's very fascinating. Tag barrel storage. Hello. So, actually this is a good chance actually. There's a lot of people who maybe don't know what Art Fight is. So, every year during July there is an event hosted called Art Fight. And the thing of the event is this. You get divided into two teams. Hang on. Let me pull up the web browser so y'all can see the website. There we go. All right. So if you've never heard of Art Fight before, it is an event that happens every July, and it lasts throughout the entirety of July. And the whole thing is you are divided into two teams. I'm on Team Fossils. My buddy Leov there, who is as excited for the event as I am, clearly, is on Team Crystals. What we do is that we fight by drawing the original characters and, characters that you submit to this website, and the more polished the character art has, the more effort you put into it, the more points you get. There's also different point scorings for different mediums, so like 3D models, animations, small comics, things like that. Broadly speaking, the goal of the event is to contribute as many points as possible to your team, but I have been betting on a lot of losing horses. I think my teams have lost like 2 years in a row now, but that's fine. I'm here for a good time, not for a victorious time. Fossils are pretty nice. I like them a lot. I'm a big fan of the dinosaurs and such. What were you last year? I forgot. I honestly forgot what the teams were last year too. What fucking team was it? Seafoam, right? It was Seafoam and Stardust. Right. Some crazy out of character behavior for me during the 2018 season. Why is that not working? Hang on, I gotta check one of my cables. The button setup that I use for... Oh yeah, it's like completely... Is that? No, hang on, that should be connected. Why are you acting like this? Is that... Oh yeah, now we're in business. Yeah, I use a number pad to navigate the stuff on my screen, and it's very useful when it's connected properly. Right, what was I doing? Yeah, the Art Fight thing. Actually, Leo, I'm glad that you're here because I'm gonna attack you first. You are a fucking priority target to me. Gosh. Yeah. Leo, if you've never heard of Leo before, he's a very cool guy. He does a lot of really good art. I love his rendering style. He's been getting really sick with the painting lately. I can feel the red dot on my forehead. Gulp. Yeah. And the character for this one is called Noel. And the owner of the character is Sobbing. The number is 6466183. I feel like I'm giving out somebody's like social security information. But yeah, the description here is pronouns are he, him. Not really a zombie. They just went through some shit. Wears a plain black cowboy hat and boots. Lives in a post-apocalyptic world and overrun by a sniper as a medic. Yeah. I'm giving out the numbers to your soch. Count your days. I don't know. I never understood. I don't know. Like, I feel like the weird thing about the social security thing is that it's not like your IP address or anything, where it's like, I don't know how to put it. Like, if somebody gets your IP address, I assume that you hacked my computer. But like a lot of the social security stuff, from what I've seen in my experience, is print only. You're not really supposed to keep track of that shit digitally, as far as I'm aware. So the fact that somebody's gotten your soch is a little bit crazy too, because like that means that they went somewhere really, really obscure. All right. Let me think, actually. I really want to try and experiment with styles this time around. Or try and find something that can be, like, more simplified? Let me think. I think allegedly they were giving away social security numbers from Indeed? Oh, God. Yeah, that would track, actually. I actually got a letter the other day that's saying that some of my shit was in a data breach for, like... I don't even remember what it was. I remember changing my password for it, but I don't remember what the thing was itself. Scary stuff. Okay. But in terms of composition, what I'm thinking is, like, cowboy boots on the table. Almost very kind of like, relaxed. I'm gonna need to make the angle of the table a little bit more... They were allegedly giving away SSNs from Indeed. I would be so fucking mad. For all the times that I tried to apply to a job using Indeed, not once did I actually get the job. Not once did I actually get, like, a follow-up from the job. Wait, no, that's true. I got one follow-up for, like, a job flipping burgers, essentially. And then and I didn't get hired, which I think in the long run was probably a good thing. So that's some real crazy shit to me. Got saved from customer service. I barely escaped with my life that time. I don't know what kind of person Pabs would have become if I had customer service experience. Probably one with deeper character, but I don't think I think my misanthropy would have shot through the roof. Actually, hang on. I should get a reference. I got nothing from Indeed. I got my past job from literally going in and applying. That is the thing. Like, Indeed can refer you to places, but it's most often in your best interest to apply directly through those places' websites. Like, if they're like, oh, such and such company is hiring, but would you like to apply through Indeed? You will say, no, I do not, and then you will just go to their website. It is some crazy shit. Wait, hang on. This image... I might need to change the perspective on it. I want to try and do a vertical perspective one. I don't know. It always kills me when they put the stock photos up on the internet with like these watermarks. Because for a sick freak like me who can just use the theater of the mind... I already have all I need from it. Got an interview from somewhere for something I was not qualified for, and they were so confused how I got there. Motherfucker, you invited me in. That is honestly a little bit funny. That is a little bit funny to me because, like, at that point, right? If you get invited for something you're not qualified for, at that point you have two options. One, you kind of like admit to the whole thing and be like, yeah, no, I don't think I'm supposed to be here either. Or you double down. Have you ever played New Vegas? Have you ever seen that bit from like a guy that's like, yeah, no, they were going around asking people if they had degrees in theoretical physics. I said I had a theoretical degree in physics. They said, welcome aboard. I don't know. I would probably not be able to thrive in that situation. But I do think I would like it to happen to me at least once. I just want to see what would happen to me. How long I could keep up the charade. Honestly, I'm not feeling the legs on the table anymore. Because the thing is, like, all the details gonna come onto the boots, and I don't really know much about, like, what would make a cool cowboy boot sole. Do you think, like, obviously other cowboys made fun of each other for their boots, right? Like, I feel like if you got boot mogged at the saloon, it would be a devastating experience for you, clearly, obviously. I'm not doubting that was a thing that regularly happened. What I am doubting is, like, what part of the boots did they look at specifically? Like, could you get away with having very plain soles if the rest of the boot was just decked out? Like, if it had like super intricate, like, sewn patterns and leather stitching and whatnot, do you think, like, you could get away with it, or is it like a more of a holistic review that they did? Don't you remember those long pointy cowboy boots that came out a few years ago? Yeah. Wait, no, actually, what? I think I know what you're talking about. Hang on. Super long, pointy cowboy boot. Oh, wait, no, there they are. Whew. Pardon my pun, but those have some kicks to them. Oh, a link. Very helpful. Thank you. Let me just peep for myself. Good heavens! Does he grab onto them like skis, or like... No, okay, he doesn't. God. That is fabulous. That is truly phenomenal. Okay, here we go. God, it is really funny. Recently, something that's calling itself like a Fluvogel shop, which I think is like a type of shoe, right? Hang on. Fluvogel. Fluvog, right. John Fluvog is a Canadian shoe designer and business person. Okay, so then the pieces come together. These don't look too bad, honestly. Like, these look like... wait, no. I mean, these aren't my favorite, but, like, you know, these look nice. These look okay. Anyway, there's like a Fluvog store that opened up in my neighborhood, and they have been very, very aggressive in their advertising. They keep, like, spray painting the sidewalk around the main street, being like, Fluvogel this way, Fluvog this way. And it's like, it's a little much. You know, it's it's a little much because, like, first of all, I don't know what a Fluvogel is. I thought it was some kind of fucked up instrument at first. Then I thought it was like some kind of fucked up specialty shoe, like some kind of, you know what I mean? It's like, I thought it was like a clog of sorts. Like, if you tell me like there's a shoe out there called a Fluvogel, I am picturing like wooden clog, maybe with like a metal cap or something. Very much like a traditional dress shoe. Or like a traditional wear shoe. Okay. Shoulders are kind of slopey. How in high demand are Fluvogels that they opened up a store? I mean, it looks like it was a brand, but I'm guessing the demand isn't very high since they were like they're trying to, like. My reaction to this whole thing is very much like the Mean Girls, like, stop trying to make fetch happen sort of thing. Like, I couldn't be asked to give a single fuck about Fluvogel or Fluvogs. What was the spelling again? Fluvog. I couldn't give a single fuck about Flu Vox if you held a gun to my head. So I don't know. Maybe it's a big thing for someone else. Maybe it is like a high demand brand, but like it is. I don't know. Sometimes I can't tell if something is genuinely stupid or if I'm just out of touch. You know what I mean? Like fidget spinners. Fidget spinners were very trendy, but it was pretty unanimously agreed that like the whole kind of culture or like fascination with them was kind of stupid. Like I think that was part of being in on the joke, was like recognizing that it is stupid, but treating it like it was a serious deal. I imagine it was like a serious deal to at least a couple of people, but like, you know what I mean? It's something that's all in good fun, or like that. What do you call what was the name of that thing? Goncharov. Yes, Goncharov. Everybody was in on the joke on Goncharov, and sometimes it got out of hand, but like for the most part, it was pretty well contained. Goncharov turned out to be way bigger than I thought it was, because of the fact that like I assumed that it was a thing mostly restrained to Tumblr, and then it turned out it really wasn't. Like it had breached containment big time. Whenever something like that happens, I wonder if the original poster feels like has that like look, like they were. I wonder if they feel like Oppenheimer basically. But yeah, I don't know. One of the articles on the shoes that I saw here did say that they are that they were cool again, implying that they weren't cool at some point. Maybe they are making like a big comeback. I have heard as well of those like Labubu dolls that have been making the rounds recently. I think those are fairly charming. Those are not like offensive to me particularly. I don't personally get the appeal, being like a lifetime plastic purchaser. Actually, that's not true. I think like it is very strange to me that I only bought my first like quote unquote anime figure sometime in the last few years. I genuinely expected myself to like buy more at some point in my life, but I guess that the opportunity never really presented itself to me. I have a serious problem with like non-attachment, if that makes sense. I feel like I don't get as hyped or as into stuff as other people do. So like, whereas somebody would be like, "Oh, I like that series. Let's buy merch for it," right? Or, you know, you're escaping Samsara with this one. That is a funny way of looking at it. I'm too Nirvana pilled to be affected by like plastic dinglings. Wait, no, dingling means spinners. Plastic doohickeys. Got it. Safely secured. Hi, Cypress. Also, I have lost like I have lost the opportunity to escape Samsara because of the fact that I did end up buying one. Like I talked about how I didn't end up buying. I thought I would buy more and I didn't. I did eventually buy one. I don't know. It just feels very funny to me. I thought it would feel more meaningful, but it's just kind of hanging out there in my room. I don't even look at it that much. It's given me a good opportunity for some tasteful arrangement of my furniture, but like that's about it. That's the most meaningful impact it's had on my life. Feels weird to think about. Like I said, I just thought it would feel more meaningful. On the other hand, it's probably good that it didn't. Hey, Ref. Oh. Yo, check out, check, get a load of this guy who only posted 3 penises. I did 5, you fucking tight purse motherfucker. I hit you with the quintuple penis barrage. This guy only has enough power to summon 3 penises at once. Everybody point and laugh. Also, hi, Raph. How you doing? It is really funny that it took you a while to get your revenge on me too. Like, you could have done that like 2 days after I did it to you the first time. You're so mean. You're the one here trying to on a quest of vengeance, motherfucker. Didn't you ever hear that shit about digging 2 graves? Been at work? Come on. That's fair, honestly. You stream at like an insanely late hour, so I only catch your streams if I'm also staying up super late. And I think that's kind of what enabled my violent tendencies. Also, yeah, Ryan, for some context, every single time, or like the last 2 times from what I recall that Raph has streamed, I go into his chat at some point and I just write penis, 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 and then I fuck off and don't say anything else. And it's a good-hearted bit. I like to think it's a good-hearted bit. I'm getting a little silly with it. I engage in some rascally behavior from time to time. It's not like my trademark or my calling card. It's not like I would call myself the quintuple penis Okay, I feel like there's a timer over my head that's like got 15, maybe 20 seconds on it, and that it's like warning me that if I say the word penis like any more times that I strictly need to in the next 3 hours, it's gonna have like an irrevocable timeline altering event. This is like a zero time dilemma type situational choice. So I'm not gonna do that. I do like the idea of him having like a little straw of weed in his mouth. I don't know. I feel like it would go really well with the cowboy aesthetic. Maybe the mouth a little smaller and a little lower. But yeah, thanks for stopping by, Raph. I always like it when you come by. Okay. Can't forget his mole. There's something so fascinating about characters who have, like, only, like, huge blank eyes, instead of, like, having, like, irises and sclera and whatnot. I don't know, it lends them a very unique kind of mystique. Them big old eyes. There we go. Gotta need to remember, is that yelling your mic picking up background noise, or is it part of the OST? That was part of the OST, I think. Yeah, and that last one, like the sounds of like a crowd. Yeah, I think that was the OST. I really need to cycle the music library that I use. I like just casually as shouting to my music to keep you on your toes. I recently finished playing a game called I Am Your Beast, which is fucking fascinating to me from several standpoints, but the music is really, really good. Crazy shit, crazy part sometimes though. Like, I think for one of the tracks, they actually sampled Bugs Bunny. Like, MF's Doom styles just sampling Bugs Bunny into the mix. It's awesome. I really like it. But yeah, it's a very... The soundtrack for I Am Your Beast is like very techno, very heavy action music. And it fits really well into the game world. Well, how did Bugs Bunny get in there? I appreciate the creative decision, but I'm wondering... So I'm not saying that it was the wrong one. I'm just asking, how did that happen? But yeah. Speaking of which, I gotta get back into music making for real. I have been neglecting my obligations in that regard. I'd really like to learn how to make like EDM or techno music, but that's... I think step one is learning how to make it and something that sounds listenable to at all. And I got close during that time period when I was like really like super focusing on it, but it's not enough. But yeah, I Am Your Beast is such a fascinating game because like its politics seem to be, for all intents and purposes, it is just like a very... It is seemingly just like a generic white guy FPS, right? But at the same time, its core plotline is this guy effectively fighting off the CIA, who are trying to get him back into the fold for one last job. So it's very much an anti-establishment narrative, but at the same time, like every single trapping of it is just feels very Call of Duty-ish. So it is fascinating to me from that standpoint. Maybe I could have the hat slightly lower down so he's actually like bringing up the brim of the cap. That might work. But yeah, no. There's a couple of games that I've been meaning to try. I after watching Boss play through the System Shock 2 remaster, I actually copped System Shock 1 now that it's on sale. Much like 50% of the games in the Steam library. Or like more like 80%, I would say. I feel like I feel like most games on Steam go on sale almost like out of obligation. But yeah, I've gotten System Shock 1 into my library, so I'm gonna go through that. I'm the kind of person who can't really feel at peace unless they've played through the prequels of a series. Even if you should be able to pick up directly from the sequels. I've been holding back on buying because I have way too big of a backlog. Oh yeah? Anything you've had your eye on in particular? Oh yeah, there is a game that I have been meaning to... That I did get on the sale. It wasn't on sale, but it did release like basically the day of the sale. called Roughing the Riverside, and I remember seeing this game's trailer like a long time ago, and everybody literally saying that's a PABS core game. And I was like, all right, shit, I guess if everybody's been saying so, I guess I gotta look into it. It does look very it does look compelling. I do like the aesthetics of it. All right, perfect. Maybe I can add a couple of the same kind of pins that he's got on the button here. Oh, one of the dress is kind of falling to the side. I see. I hadn't noticed that on the first pass. I see. Oh yeah. Speaking of which, the BGM reminded me that Katamari should probably also be on sale. So go get Katamari if you want a life-changing experience that also is occasionally controller-breakingly infuriating. I had a lot of fun with my experience with Katamari. I cannot in good faith give it to somebody who I could not in good faith recommend it to anybody who has like recorded issues with anger. Like a lot of games will have like a frustrating level, but sometimes Katamari will really just like let you let you know that it knows who you are. Ran out of thread to suit the middle flap? Oh no! So it's probably supposed to like go this way, huh? Well, it's also pretty fashionable this way, so he should be proud of himself for an inventive approach. Characters with like Frankenstein stitches are so dang cool. Okay, so this hand is gonna have like that. Perfect. Okay, I'm gonna change this canvas size a little bit just so that it is a little bit more in tune with, so maybe it's a little bit bigger and a little bit wider, and we don't have to worry as much about like spacing. I'm glad it reads as Frankenmonster. Oh, yeah, it really does. Yeah, it's you can instantly pick up on that vibe from the look of him. Frankenmonster. Huh. I'm trying to remember if like I know Frankenstein's monster is a technical name for it. I don't remember if there's like a different classification for that specific kind of monster. Like Construct, I think it's like one of the ones that were approved. Actually, hang on. Let me add an actual share. Me homunculi. That also works really well. Homunculi, huh? Just say Frankenmonster, I forgot the species name. That's fine. Yeah, it's not good to think about it too hard either. Yeah, it could be undead, golem, etc. It is weird. I feel like Frankenstein's monster is technically a form of undead, but it's not. It doesn't feel to me like an undead. You know what I mean? Like it was dead, and now it isn't, but it's not an undead. Reanimated monster. That's a pretty good one. Yeah, whatever. Stitch is cool. That's the most important takeaway of this presentation, I think. No matter what, the stitches have to be cool. Coincidentally, you like what I'm cooking up for a new model? Ooh, nice. Looking forward to it. Simplify vector line. Let's do that. That's a fucked up line. Hang on. Let's do this. Sometimes you draw a line and it looks... Oh, wait, no, hang on. Before I move on to this section, I gotta do one more thing. I gotta go back and flip the canvas on the sketch just to make sure. Yeah. Okay. This arm needs to be bigger and this arm needs to be slightly smaller? I feel like it's a little problematic that to me the ultimate expression of cowboy is still like that one Looney Tunes episode where like Bugs Bunny has a gun and he pretends to be a cowboy for a while. I feel like that could describe a lot of Looney Tunes episodes, but that's the one that I think of the most. Okay, grab this. Yeehaw! Yeah, I didn't watch a lot of Western films growing up, so my reference for cowboy is like what other people have taken to be cowboy themed that has been introduced to me by proxy. So like the shit from Fallout New Vegas, for example, which is supposed to be like cowboy themed, right? Like a lot of the New Vegas stuff has like Western story leanings and cues and motifs. You know, there's like the cowboy perk and everything. So that's been a lot of what my reference pool for cowboyisms should be. Like I understand what a cowboy is, but I feel like I haven't gotten out of the cave, out of Plato's Shadows of the Cave for the cowboys yet. I feel like I haven't truly understood them as a species. Love cowboy theme, but it also reminds me of my uncles. Yeah. My grandfather had a farm, and I got to visit it a couple times when I was young, so it kind of reminds me a little bit of that stuff. Love to travel to a gold mine, ghost town, and start roleplaying. That would be so much... That would be like a funny thing to do in big 2025. Just pull up to a place that was like historically a gold mining site and be like, howdy, partner. But like they have Wi-Fi and shit. What was that one town that was like that had like a coal mine on fire for it, like Centralia? My dad stopped wearing the attire, and the last thing he was going to buy were snake pattern boots, but he didn't get them, and I still think about them because they were sick. Snake... Yeah, we don't talk about it enough. For all the kind of like impracticality of like a lot of cowboy clothing for day-to-day wear, it went hard. Yeah, the snakeskin boots are a big commitment. True fact, if you don't oil them regularly, the snakes come back to life and start biting you. Yeah, no, you have to like Goro Majima that shit and just wear that every day and have that be your regular outfit. Snakeskin is a lifestyle commitment that not everybody is ready for. Good concept, cursed boots. I mean, some boots are cursed and they will give you like, what's it called? Like, blisters if they're not sized correctly. So I think like if you just have a shitty cobbler, most boots can be cursed. He got the dad curse and now dresses like a dad. Traded in the bolo for a polo, huh? That's a little tragic. It is fascinating. The concept of like dad fashion is fascinating to me as somebody whose dad has two general fashion styles. Like he either looks like the most well composed and well put together man ever, or he looks like he is the leader in like a rock climbing tutorial group. Like he either goes like full on athletic gear, or he just looks like a very well dressed businessman. He'll go back to it when he's older. It's like a boomerang. Yeah, you can lead the horse to water, but you can't take the cow out of the boy, or whatever, or however that saying goes. People aren't horses. People aren't horses. People are. What? Oh yeah, speaking of people horses, Uma Musume has been fucking blowing up in among the people that I know. I've seen people talk about at least 5 different folks getting turned into glue over losing a tournament. Pretty Derby taking the world by storm. That was an actual line in season 3 Squid Game? What the fuck happens in Squid Game? I've never seen Squid Game. I haven't seen season 1, season 2, or season 3. Wait, no, wait, no, hang on. I'm using my media literacy knowledge to kind of try and extract the meaning of that phrase in context. I'm guessing he's saying that people shouldn't be overworked like horses. And that makes sense, actually. The last 2 seasons are straight up cheeks. Yeah, I feel like it suffered the curse of Icarus, where it flew too high too quickly. And so it kind of, it was killed by its own success. So that's rough. I'm sorry to hear that the Squid Game sequels did not go very well. I think it was sabotage because they said if you don't make another season, we'll make it instead, and he friggin' krilled it. Oof. That does happen. That you've heard that happen a couple of times. I mostly know that situation from like mangas where they were like, yeah, no, if you stop publishing it, like we are going to kill you, straight up. If you stop making like chapters of Bleach, we are going to beat your ass. I respect if it was out of spite. I suppose that's true as well. That kind of like self-destruct move type of writing. Okay, then down here. Yeah, it's hard not to respect the decision if it was out of spite. Hold on, Raph just DM'd me something. Oh. Alright, hang on. Let me put this up on the Jumbotron. This is very much what happens in Raph's streams. Raph, if you're still here, this is a really well-made little comic. Thank you. I do like that he got so mad that the friggin' shadow demon resting in his eye awakened as I run away. I like to think that I keep it respectful a lot of the time, but sometimes I do act like a little shit. So it's a little brother in me jumping out. The most fun of that was doing the Looney Tunes ass mouth. It is a really good expression. The exclamation points on the hoodie as well are a really nice touch. Also, Leah, what do you mean you have a video just like this? What? What? Hang on. Hang on. Stop the music. What are we... Alright. Let's see if Twitch's copyright strikes are feeling generous today.
Whew, crazy world, huh? Well, don't let it get you down, son. Penis.
He's going right into the ear to whisper that shit too. Oh my god. Ay, Dios mío. And he just runs away too. Hang on. Let me... He just fucking books it out of there. Fuck you. Oh god. That is phenomenal. Thank you for sharing that. That's literally what I do. That is basically the exact same shit that I do. Except I don't even like lead up with like the normal remarks. I just hit the big red button and then I book it out of there. I have like a little Solid Snake Metal Gear Solid style like alert pop up in the corner of my vision when I do so to close the tab. Oh yeah, I forgot to turn the music back on. It really has been a great day. I don't know, I feel very refreshed by my activities recently. I concluded some obligations the other day that, well, literally yesterday actually. I shouldn't say the other day. I literally concluded them yesterday. And now I have no other things to worry about really for the rest of this week. I'd like to be in this kind of relaxed mood more often, but that's just not feasible. So I need to take advantage of it whenever I can. Okay, and then just... there we go. Yeah. I think reflecting on it more, I think the way that I de-stress is by challenging myself to do random things on a whim. Like, I feel exhilarated and like I feel like I feel good when something that I've been like putting off gets done. And I know that that's a pretty common feeling. I imagine that it is, at least. But I don't know. I feel like a special thrill once such an obligation is satisfied. Or not even an obligation. It's just it's really more like just a random side attraction that I made for myself. Like if I had been curious about something and then I satisfied the curiosity, I feel much better afterwards. I think that's why I like microdosing on that feeling by reading Wikipedia articles at random. Deshaciéndose, como, like, as my family would say. I don't know. There really is something just so valuable about the experience of learning. And like the experience of feeling like you've learned something. Like obviously you can study something, but that doesn't mean that you feel like you've learned it all of a sudden. You know what I mean? That sort of thing only comes alive after you've really just had experience with it, been able to apply that knowledge. And it feels really satisfying once you realize, oh, I know this stuff now. I can do it without really, you know, it doesn't obviously that's still an effort, but like I know it now. I can use it. And the worst feeling is when you get there and then later on you're like, wait, I forgot how to do the thing that I learned to do. Because like you only ended up using it for like a little bit and then you didn't really need it for a while, so it like got really, really rusty and it didn't like cement into deep memory. That is the worst. I think that's part of the reason why it's so important to invest your attention and time into things that will really benefit you and that you'll try and use frequently. Well, it doesn't always work out like that, but you have to but making the effort to try and learn something anyway, you get that satisfaction in the heat of the moment, I suppose. So I guess the effort you made wasn't really lost so much as, you know, it had its moment. It got you to where you needed to get, and now it's kind of gone. It does really piss me off, kind of like the ephemerality of knowledge. But I guess that's just how it is. This is a challenge that everybody deals with, I imagine. I should look up some cowboy boot patterns. Let's see. Oh, so it's like that, huh? Okay. A lot of the cowboy boots that I'm used to seeing have a... It is interesting. They almost look like a normal shoe, but they have like a tube of leather glued to the top, essentially. I imagine it's different for for other styles, but there are a few embellishments you can add. And I'd like to add those embellishments here because I want the feet are such a centerpiece right now that I do feel like it would be in my best interest to try and show them a little love. Actually, you know what might be interesting is giving him cowboy shoes that also look a little bit stitched together. Frankenstein your boots. Why not? Guy who heard the phrase "fill your boots" and didn't really hear it properly, and now just keeps using the wrong version. Fill your boots also feels like a weird, unless I also heard it wrongly. And fill your boots isn't an actual phrase, and I'm just having some kind of deranged Mandela effect situation going on. That is entirely possible. For the longest time, I thought I didn't understand the phrase "nip this in the butt" because well, no, nip this in the butt. I'm sorry, because I thought it was saying "nip this in the butt" as in like the rear end instead of the bud, which I didn't know what that was at first. Yeah, there's no but. I'm aware. there is no if, and, or but in that phrase. So I have learned. But yeah, I didn't know what a bud was, so I was like, is it bud? What is a bud? And then I learned about like flower terminology, and I'm like, oh, that makes sense. I also recently learned this. God. It sneaks up on you. It sneaks up on you sometimes. Wait, Paps, what was your first language? Spanish. My first language was Spanish. Yeah, but it was, yeah, you got it. Yeah, we do shake hands on that. Okay, then bring the leg in. Glad we had the same idea on boots. Nice. It makes sense from a design standpoint. If you have a pattern somewhere, you want to repeat that in other places. So I'm glad we were working on the same wavelength. Wait, does he have like defined shoulders, or is it very smooth? No, okay, it is very smooth. So let me actually just get rid of this one then. Okay, and then it's gonna come down like this. I also got that other two. Right, I forgot that you can add multiple references to a character. Let me grab those real quick. Ah, cierto. Nice, okay. Let me make that arm a little thicker then. He does have more meat on his bones than I was expecting. Alright, there we go. Still trying to figure it out. That's alright. That was the first pancake drawing. Yeah. Those are the most important though, because I feel like if you go back enough to, if you are struggling with like your character design, going back to that first pancake drawing can often help you remember like what your intentions were for different things. And you know, some of them might not be feasible, but a lot of times they really help you remember what you were going for in a design. I have gotten into the habit of not doing first draft runs on designs. It was a really big struggle for me to, for a long time to not do that. But, you know, I eventually started being able to be more flexible with my process. I don't know. I think it was healthy for me to do it, even if I do end up going a lot with many influences from the first draft. I think it's good that it forces you to look at an idea from multiple different angles at first, because you might even find something that you weren't expecting. There was a quote, I draw very rarely so people get what I give them and they're going to like it. It's important. Yeah, the important thing is that the few times you do draw, you draw the hell out of it. So, like you take a long time to cook stuff, but it's whenever you do it is a delicious meal. Okay. And then his nose. And then this. There has to be a better way of drawing thick eyelashes. I feel like this is very inefficient for some reason. I feel like my work, my career, my day job has caused me to like be the kind of person that's like, okay, this sucks and is inefficient. What can I do to improve it? There is. Can you let me know when you find? Can you let me know when you find out? There must be a way out of this. Well, no, there must be a way to get more comfortable with it. I think the issue is that a lot of drawing and getting good at it is just getting comfortable with the process. And the problem is that is so fucking difficult to do. Like I think if you have fun drawing something, that is the easiest way to be good at drawing it. Like, you know how some people say that you can hear people smile through the telephone? I feel like you can genuinely do that with some drawings. You can genuinely feel the love of it. The process of going through the discomfort, yeah. In some ways it's very meditative, but like, there are, of course, stages to it, right? Like, sometimes when you start out, it's like, oh, this is so much fun. There's so many possibilities. I'm swimming in a delicious, endless ocean. And then, like, 5 minutes later, you're like, okay, I'm tired of swimming. The ocean's too vast. Help, help, help. I want out! It can be like that. I guess the most important thing in that scenario is keeping your head above the water. Always going back to, like, why you wanted to learn to do it in the first place. I think that's why people who... Yeah, art, baby. That is the whole process of it. I do think that's why people who like have like a single VTuber Oshi that they draw all the time, or like a single character that they love to draw all the time, are like one of the most powerful people on Earth. Because for them, that they are the ones who have escaped samsara, artistically speaking. They don't need to wonder what they're going to draw next because they already know. They don't need to worry about, like... I mean, they would change... They do occasionally change their skill sets, and they do learn to apply their skill sets to other situations. But it's like, at the same time, they never lose sight of the reason that they love drawing. And I think that's a very admirable trait. That's a very admirable... Well, more than admirable, I would say it's enviable. But yeah, oh yeah, actually that reminds me, like, that's like part of the, that's like also why, you know, to connect this back to the earlier point about like anime figurines, how I like never felt strongly about a series to like get merchandise of it and go through the process of getting merchandise for it. Like that's also the reason why I feel like I'm probably not going to get a tattoo ever. Like, not because I have a hang up about, you know, the process of getting a tattoo or the consequences of a tattoo, but more because I have hang-ups of like, okay, I don't know what I have in my life that I will not regret putting on my skin permanently. Or like that I will not have second thoughts of someday of like, did I really like this? I'm sure that's like a non-issue. I feel like over time, you just kind of accept it as a part of your body, even if you have come to regret it, or if you are like, you know what, this isn't quite as hype as I thought it would be when I first asked the tattoo artist to put it on me. But we ball regardless. I don't know, I think it's important to find something that you can live with a consequence to, at least once. I think it's healthy in a way. Let's see. There we go. Actually, no, these are straighter than the other stitches that he has. I wanted to be a weeb and finally get the FMA homunculus tattoo I wanted since I was in middle school. That sounds sick. I mean, that's almost like a fascinating situation to be in, because you've wanted that for a long time. Is there a particular reason you're not enthused about getting it? Yes, actually. Hmm. Oh, there's another bit of fabric over here. I hadn't noticed that. I have no money. The universal ambition ender. That's rough, man. It is true that tattoos do cost mad money. In my innocence, I had nearly forgotten that detail. Plus, there's a lot of stuff you can't do while you're trying to recuperate from them. Yeah, I had forgotten how fucking expensive tattoos were. They should be free, but only for me. Yeah, as an artisan, you do get the conflict of, oh god, why is this so expensive, versus, you know what, I respect you making it so expensive. Okay, then over here. Perfect. So yeah, it's very easy to sympathize with to understand and sympathize with those prizes. And over here. Actually, come to think of it, I also have a lot of respect for people who draw like completely different things every day. Like, I remember there was this one artist, I think he's on Blue Sky now, actually, who draws like who essentially post like a different drawing of like a cute girl every single day, and they have never been the same girl twice. Every single time it's like a unique design, and I'm just like, how do you do that? How did he do that, or how did they do that? Like, that just seems very difficult to me. Okay. There we go. Perfect. That little wheat twig, that little wheat straw was so satisfying to draw. I don't know, that one felt good. Okay, then the hat is gonna swoop over this way. It is also really bringing the topic back briefly to Uma Musume. I am fascinated by like the posting for it, because it's not like in other gacha games where they're like, oh, this character's so sweet, oh, this character's so sexy. In this one, it's like genuinely being at a horse racetrack and watching people bet on the horses. Like, everybody is so locked in onto this horse girl shit, it is crazy. I did not know it was that serious, but it makes sense. It is tempting. It's tempting you, huh? Yeah. I actually kind of want to watch the anime series that was released like way, way, way back. I like to watch that and see what that was about. I feel like the horse hype moment and aura moments would be mostly confined within that animation. I'd also like to watch like compilations of the training mode animations. I don't know. It feels like they would make very good references for how to make like a very small vignette work. They keep increasing the budget every season, and it gets crazy animation. That is true. I did notice that like the movies, especially. Well, obviously the movies get a bump in animation budget, but footage from the movies seems to be really, really well done. I'm pretty sure there was a movie. Hang on. Yeah, beginning of a new era. Released May 23rd, 2024. Damn. Tell me the runtime on that shit. IMDb rating 7.4 out of 10. That's alright. 1 hour and 48 minutes. That's crazy. Good for them, though. I do also really like Uma Musume just because of how easily it connects to my specified preferred brand of random ass historical facts. Like learning about like Haru Urara, I think her name is. And like the fact that its legend is that it was a horse who just could not fucking win a race to save its life, but it became beloved because of that. And it's like, damn, that's awesome. I'm always fascinated by like small scale folklore like that. Small scale, more like small time. Small time feels like a more appropriate description for it. Where it's not even necessarily like related to the creation myth of a particular culture or the founding of it, but like the just like a random little happenstance that gets picked up on, and you know it's expanded on by other people. I'm gonna change where the thumb is here. This feels... Yeah, this feels about right. Okay, then over here. Very nice. Okay, let's gonna go back here. Perfect. Ah, my wrists. Ah. Yeah, okay, I think I needed that quick little stretch. I sound like an old man sometimes. I I don't know. I don't remember. Or like, drink some water too. Damn. Yeah, no. Actually, that's a good idea. Let me take a quick sip. It is crazy how easily you can get thrown off of your normal hydration game. I was awake earlier today, right? I had gotten breakfast from like this local joint. Um, and I had gotten my breakfast order was a club sandwich and a banana strawberry smoothie, which I enjoyed both very, very much. But the thing is, I forgot that until like that I hadn't drank water at the time. I didn't like drink like the water at the table that they gave me, and I hadn't drunk water before then either. So then I was like 3 hours later, like, oh man, why do I feel so weird? Why does my head feel so heavy? And I remember I hadn't drank anything. I eaten something that was like heavy in salt and sugar, and I was like, oh right. And normally I'm very good about it, which is why it caught me off guard so much. Am I missing anything? No, the part here would be here. The treats overpowered you. Yep. I thought I was built different, but I wasn't. Okay, there we go. Let's shrink him down just a tiny bit more so I can get access to the full palette in one image. Perfect. Oh yeah, I've been getting... Oh, the hat. I forgot about the hat. Sif, hello. Hello everyone. I'm Pav, the Rising VTuber and artist. We're working on an art fight attack. How are you doing? Let me type out the shout out. How was your stream? Were you also doing art fight stuff, or were you working on something else? Of course, if you need to head out right away, I understand. I appreciate your hard work, and I appreciate you stopping by. Pass out the art been treating you. Pass me your link. Sure thing. Was working on an art fight attack. I can pass the art after. I mean, I can pass the art now. I'm trying to do an attack per day. Oh, nice. Do you have me on Discord anywhere? Actually, I don't. Hang on. Yeah, actually, let me post my link up real quick. Oh, there you are. That was fast. You worked fast. All right, send it in whenever you're ready. Kill this motherfucker? My red imposter? Dog, you can't get mad just because the team's got auto balance. Come on now. Oh, sick! Oh, I really like the colors you've used for this. Hang on, let me put this up on the Jumbotron. The hatching on this is really good. Great work. I really like it. Yeah, no, I really can't get enough of the cross hatching too. I don't know. The way that it's laid out just adds like a lot of dynamism to it. I feel like I feel like I feel like the character's climbing out of like a moving coffin. I kind of pivoted into hatching render after realizing I had no idea how I color it. I mean, smart pivot. Oh, the sketch idea is pretty nice too. I really like how you contrasted the... Hang on. Open link. You know, I really like how you contrasted the orange and green. I need to start doing more sketch ideas like this. I feel like I've gotten good enough at doing like sketches, but I haven't been good at incorporating color into them during the planning stages, and that I feel like that's going to bite me in the ass a couple of times. But yeah, great work. Really like it. Genuinely excited to be on Team Fossil. I feel like I need to flex a lot more to take characters and fossilize them. Ah, so that's the thing you're going for. Cool. Been a big fan of your art for a while, so it means a ton. Oh, thank you. That means a lot to me too. I'm happy to hear that. I'm gonna fossilize. I'll be lurking and watching. Thank you. Yeah, no. As always, I really appreciate you. I really appreciate you coming by. What would a fossilized knight look like? I'm thinking T-Rex with a big sword. Ancient medieval tomb, no, with no bitches. Your ass has no trinkets. You have been buried with no coins on your eyes. You're you're told to the ferryman will not be processed. I might be going a little bit to him on the whole Frankenstein angle, but honestly, the hat made out of different patches of skin would also go kind of hard. Kind of breezy too, honestly. You know how like lace shirts have been making the rounds, where how like now guys wear like these mesh shirts that are like, you know, they got little holes in them, but like they're not mesh shirts per se, but they do have like lace sort of deals. So it's just into fashion, it's just part of the aesthetic. Mm-hmm. Honestly, it is a good thing that there are animals big enough that we can just make a single leather outfit out of one of them. Because imagine if like all we had to work with were like mink-sized animals, or like, you know, I don't know, like fucking gopher-sized animals. You know, all the animals on Earth max, except for humans, max out at gopher size. Like you would need to have so many different gophers just to make a single leather jacket. So we're lucky that animals as big as cows and would not exist. Yeah, I'm trying to lace men up. What about it? I mean, I didn't say you couldn't. Why are you acting like I have a problem with that? Couldn't be me. Yeah, I'm trying to lace men up. What are you? Working at a Foot Locker? Come on now. Honestly, I feel like shoe store employees do get a very raw deal, broadly speaking. Because shoes are so difficult to shop for, even for yourself, that being able to like discern what somebody else's shoe needs are feels like it is like a step beyond in terms of difficulty. Like just in general, I'm trying to lock up. Up her. All right, man. I'm gonna go have a snack. Yeah, I think the demons are like talking to you. I think the demons have taken over. Go get like a candy bar or something, brother. All right, I think that's about all the planning I need to do. Yeah, all right, that looks good. Let's get to work. Or actually, hang on, let's... I've been trying to get into the habit of using the little ice cream pen to fill in my drawings first. At first I didn't really see the point in it, but over time I've become quite fond of it. Whoops, didn't mean to take those out. Oh, I forgot the back of the hat on this side. Lesson learned, lesson learned. Okay. Now then. Okay. So there's four different skin hues. There's like the light here, the kind of purplish one, the pinkish one, and the bluish one. Let's start with the face. I feel so giddy. I'm glad. That makes me happy to hear. Feel like I'm at hibachi. Yeah, me going through the gradient mapping options later on is gonna be the equivalent of like me spinning an egg on the spatula before smashing it. Being at a hibachi is basically like the best metaphor. Simile? No, simile. Best simile I could think of for like being in an art streamer stream. Like it really does feel like they're cooking something in front of you and it's looking pretty good on the grill. I'm waiting for you to start throwing shrimps. I guess that'll come in during the shading process. I feel like that's the best shrimp candidate for me. Just gonna grab this. Okay, that's gonna go up until around here. Okay, then the rest of the arm is white. We bring in a little bit of pink over here. Wait, how long does pink go on for? Not for very long. Nice, okay. Okay, then it goes white until the wrist there, and then it goes blue and then white again. Perfect. Okay, then from there, let's just use this lighter. Or actually, no, the color as it is right now there is fine. Let's use that, and then we'll use this black for the stockings. Gotta finish with D&D. What's happening here? We're on to the coloring phase. It's going pretty well. How was D&D? Did you have fun? How were the dragons? Were they in dungeons? Okay, we'll use this color for like all the stitches, basically. All the metal stitches. The skin stitches can be like that lighter purple that's on the model. It was a good time. Our DM made a one-shot based on Looney Tunes. Awesome! I love collaborative narratives. God. Bugs Bunny would have like Tarrasque level stats, I feel like, if you had to fight him. Okay. Next up, the boots. Okay, put this here. God, I've been thinking so much about Lancer again recently, and it's kind of driving me insane. I'm glad V server has that like containment thread, because I get to just talk random about random jokes about the Lancer universe in there. And it's very painful because like there's such a rich, vast universe to it, and I don't like drawing mechs, which are 80% of the universe. What's your criteria for art fight? Are you picking friends OCs or just random one you find? A little bit of both, honestly. I do want to try and attack my friends. Odd as that may sound, I do want to try and prioritize attacking my friends as a matter of course. But usually, I just kind of wing it in terms of what I'm looking for. Like, I remember one time I literally just Googled martial arts OCs in, like, the tags for the art fight. And I just, like, picked a couple from there that I wanted to do, and that seemed cool to me. From there... Oh, maybe I could find other VTubers to draw as well. That might be interesting to do. If you need any extra to do, I have an oomph on Twitter who's doing art fights, so I can send you their profile your way. Send it over. I'd love to check out their stuff. Okay, put this over here. Yeah, okay, we'll go with these colors for like the with like the boot stitch clothings. Maybe we can make this one this color and then stick to maybe this one being this color. That seems about right. And I could use the darker color for the for like the base part of the boots here. Okay. Sending to you on Discord. Thank you very much. I think I'm gonna make the... that's a little bit different from what I was expecting for the soul color to come out. Maybe like this? Something like that. I want it to be lighter than the rest of the shoe since we have a lot of dark going on already. Thank you, sir. I'll go check it out. Thank you. I am very lucky because I do know that there are some other people who try out Artfight, but they have a lot of like professional work artistically, and they just cannot find the time to like participate in it regularly. So I am glad that I am more of a hobbyist and I can just do whatever I want. Oh no, I should not have started shading on. Those are really good hair shadings, though. Actually, maybe not so much. Alright, we'll let them go. In terms of wood... this seems about right. We'll leave it like that for now. I don't got much time for it, so that's why I've never done it. Maybe next year when I got more of my shit together. I mean, yeah, it'll always be there more or less, so I wouldn't be too worried about missing out. Okay, there we go. How big are the stitches? They're pretty big, honestly. Something like that. I will say that one of my... I don't have a lot of super fond memories of playing Fate Grand Order from back when I did indulge. But I will say that one of my favorite moments was like a story scene where you were talking to a guy who had recently had his head cut off. And like in the middle of the conversation, you don't know that his head has been cut off yet, but like in the middle of the conversation, his head just like starts sliding off just a little bit, and he like quickly puts his back and is like, "Did you see?" I don't know. There's something very comical to me about that. like he got like his head started sliding off of his body, and he's treating it the same way you would like if somebody caught you with your fly down. Okay, then over here. That's something that I've been meaning to look into. Again, is maybe I should sit my ass down and play 100 line. I got it on the sale that's been going on recently because everybody's been talking about it, and I really want to know what's going on in there. It does seem like a genuinely charming game. Tap the fucking I do think maybe after System Shock, honestly. I think when I finish System Shock, I'll get into 100 line. I don't know. Maybe I'll have a better track record for 100 line than I have with like other VNs, because I feel like my issue with VNs is that I need to be in like a super specific mood to enjoy them. But like the thing is, I think 100 line is broken up by like different types of gameplay segments. So I think that's going to make it a lot more useful for me. I genuinely need to find like a way to enjoy visual novels more regularly, because I feel like whenever I do now, I feel like I have to like sit down and crack open like a fine vintage to enjoy them, and that's too much. I'm putting too much into the ritual of the matter. I need to flirt with like simplification of the ritual, foregoing of the ritual. The major shakeup is strategic RPG gameplay, and there's other stuff on occasion. I swear to God, if there's a turret segment, I'm gonna lose my shit. That's gonna be so funny. I know you can neither confirm nor deny, but like, it would be really funny to think like in the middle of like a VN cutscene, you do have to just have a Platinum Games style shooting segment. No, sir, they don't got the budget for that. That is both a relief and a little bit funny to hear. Don't worry, we're not gonna sneak a forced turret segment into our game. We're too broke. Trust. It always mystified me why Platinum Games were such perverts about putting a turret segment, or like not even necessarily a turret segment. It was more like a Fantasy Zone style segment into each of their games. Like I remember it happening during Bayonetta, when she was riding on that missile that one time. Very funny to think about. Kamiya really likes shoot-em-ups. That explains so much. I should have known that it was like just like a thing the creator really liked. It did have that vibe to some extent. That's really funny though. Something about the stitch arrangement is messing me up here. How did I have it in the sketch? Ah, right. I had it going like almost perpendicular to the stitch line. Right. Now I remember. Okay. Just gonna quickly nab the nail polish there. I made that nail way too big. Hang on. That looks odd. That's much better. Okay. Should I just use wood texture for the wood? I think that's the right way to go. Oh, maybe like this. It is kind of fun whenever you use like one of the default textures in Clip Studio Paint. And it is even more fun when you recognize it out in the wild. Like I remember a couple of times I've seen like a webcomic or a random drawing or a random comic drawing on the internet just use one of the default CSV textures. I'm like soy jack pointing at it. Deeply affected by it. Actually, come to think of it, I could just use this color for the wood. I think that would look a lot livelier. Maybe something like that. It's kind of a nice sandy color. You know, come to think of it, the word for sandpaper, the word sandpaper obviously came after the word sand. But what did sand come from? Hang on. Wiktionary sand. There we go. From Middle English sand, sand from Old English sand, Proto-Germanic samt from Proto-Germanic samdas, from Proto-Indian European sand, or from sem to pour. Sand came from the earth. that gif of like that guy just like tapping his head like, oh right. That gif of Willem Dafoe in American Psycho. Huh, okay. How about like sandings? Plural sanding. Right. But like the noun, the active process or process, a type of dancing, process of testing, a coating of sugar. Never mind. I was wondering if like sandwood came from something like that. You know, like if sand came from sandwood, but it sounds like sand as a concept was much older, which frankly makes a lot of sense. I'm going to improve the contrast just a tiny bit. Maybe just for the darkest parts of the clothing and for the... No, just... Yeah, I think just that section just needs a little bit more contrast. Sort of like that. Maybe that's a little too light, though. There we go. That's good. Okay. Honestly, this looks fine. Zoom in, enhance. Perfect. Okay. Now then. Let's get the shading. I really like what Leo has done with some of the gradient work here, though. Like, the face almost looks like it's like, lit up. So I want to try and do something like that. But for now, let's try and use... Maybe not the gradient itself, maybe like a wash. Or a gouache. Yes! That's me after my first sip of iced coffee. It does bring you back to life sometimes. For me, I feel like if I try to quit coffee, it'd be very difficult for me because I do just genuinely like the taste of coffee. Like, I've long since gone past the time when I'm just drinking it for the energy. Now I'm just a sick freak who loves the bitter taste. In fact, I kind of struggle to drink coffee that's too good. I feel like because when you drink coffee that's like really good, it usually has like that acidity to it, right? Like it has a fascinating flavor profile that I just genuinely do not care for. I I don't really care about like the super intense flavor profile coffees. I am sorry. That does make me a little bit of a Philistine, I feel. I just drank my slop and go. Yeah. I feel like that's a good way to approach it. Okay, then up here. Okay, nice. I'm feeling good about this so far. I'm feeling good. Okay, and then maybe we can use the gouache brush to... Actually, what about the pencil? I haven't been giving the pencil brushes a lot of love recently. Ooh, that's looking really nice. Maybe a little bit further out. Like that. Nah, I think the gouache really was the way to go. And then we can do a little bit more with the shading on this. Okay. And then we can use the airbrush to add the healthy bluish blush there. Okay. I'm also gonna I'm gonna diffuse out the nose bit just because I feel like it's a little bit sharp right now. No, that looks strange. Hang on. Let me try something real quick. Okay, and then he's gonna have just a tiny bit of shadow down here. Perfect. Then I can just have a little bit of a darker shadow around the edges of the face. And actually, hang on. I would have to just grab... I can see... This could use a little bit of extra love on the hair. Perfect. Okay. Let's just do some quick shading on the other sides. No, wait, hang on. Now it's bugging me that the rest of the hair isn't exactly... Okay. This is... Yeah, that'll do it, that'll do it. Okay, bring that in there. Perfect. May just add a little bit more just here right next to the stitches. All right. That's gonna be... No, wait, something about this doesn't seem right. Yeah, maybe something like that, actually. Where there is a... sort of running shadow down here. From stitch to stitch, just kind of resting on his head. Maybe a little darker than that. Maybe a little lighter than that. Okay, and then use shading here for the rest of the hat. Making the gap solid black. I'm just making just slightly darker cross hatches here. Yeah, that feels like the right way to go. It needs a little bit more vibrancy than that. That's a little too vibrant. It looks a little too much like the stitches there. Perfect. Okay. Just gonna add just a little bit of airbrushing. Or maybe I should use the water brush for a small section near the armpits. It's a bit harsh. Hang on. Yeah, no, maybe the airbrush might be the better option. That's a wrong layer. Vado retro. I don't think that's my style, honestly. I mean, if I shifted it to be a little bit more vibrant. Okay, that looks a little better. Yeah. Okay, I like that. Let's go with that. Okay. Yeah, no, let's just make this normal cell shading. I don't think I mean, a little bit of both. Maybe just making the gradient part a little bit more subtle. By wiping off the face of the earth with a soft eraser. There we go. And just make sure that the stitch line stays consistent. Perfect. There's something very fun to draw about like this specific section right here. Like this part where like the collarbones kind of like come together. Love that part a lot. I do think the collarbones might be a little bit too close together here though. They they need a little bit of separation. They could use some time away from each other, really figure themselves out again before continuing their relationship. Okay. Oh. Overdid it right here. Nice. Okay, then just have the hand shaded like that. I do wonder if it's possible to just kind of... Hang on. Just reach over down here. Grab this entire section over there. Take this part up here. Okay, I'm going to copy this just in case and just have it in a backup layer. But I'm going to turn up the saturation, turn down the luminosity. There we go. This creates some new and exciting problems for us. No, we can cope with that. Hang on. Is that going to be more visible? Okay, that seems pretty good. Okay, then we can just blend this part out a little bit. Oh, right, that's not it. That's in the bottom layer. Right. Alright, let's use the watercolor brush then. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're just going to find the section right between these two. So right around there. And we're just going to use the... I think I used the aerosol brush from last time. Just make a nice little highlight right... No, that's the wrong color. That's not the right color. Or actually, maybe I should just make it like closer to pure white. Because I am just trying to make a highlight for where the hat meets the eye. That's Amore. That's a bit much, though. That does seem to be a little bit much. Maybe we lower the hardness, increase the brush size. Yeah, okay, that seems to do it. We can just blend it out a little bit. No, I think the issue is that it's not on the same layer. Hang on. Hang on, let's just go back a couple of steps. Wait, no. Damn it! Alright, hang on. We need to retrace our steps a little bit. Okay, copy that. Put this under there. Keep that selected. Move this. Higher saturation, lower luminosity, and then a little bit to the just the tiniest bit to the left. Okay, perfect. And then we're just going to merge those two, and we should be good. Oops. Sometimes it does feel like I'm doing surgery on these pixels. Okay, now it should work properly. I'm locked in. That is true. Alright, now I just gotta blend that out. Oh yeah, now that's working properly. Well, maybe for this one we just use the soft eraser. Something about the nose is bugging me. I think I might have made it too big on accident. Oh well, that's life. Actually, it looks kind of nice this way. I like that. Okay, now we just need to continue the blending warpath. Perfect. Yeah, alright. That's looking proper. Hang on. It's like the exact same problem as before, where I just need to kind of... No, in this case we wanted to go a little bit more towards... Actually, no, towards blue is good. Towards blue is good. There we go. Actually, I bet that would kind of work for some of these other parts too. Like, if we just go here... And then just kind of grab this section here. We can refine it a little bit once we actually have it transplanted, but... Hang on. Okay, let's try this. Okay. Okay. Copy this part. Bring it up down there. Wait, no, that makes no sense. Why did I say that? Anyway, bring it over to this layer here. Okay, yes. The blue needs some work, but that is actually working pretty well. Ooh, wait, hang on. This might be something. Yeah, if we adjust the saturation to just be a little bit lower... Why is that? Oh, snap, the parts here aren't... Okay, I see. I see my mistake now. I'd forgotten that I had actually, like, baked the stitches into the flats layer, which was a vast mistake, but that... You know what? We adapt. We adapt. We adapt. In the end, we could just go back to the original layer and... Wait, actually, let's just do that. Hang on. Select, color gamut. This one here. If we erase this from this layer, that should clear up most of it. Yeah, that's much better. Okay. Then from there... Let's grab this to make an additional shadow right here. Would that make sense, actually? Hang on. Okay, an additional shadow right there, and then we can blend that one out. Ditto for the arm over here. Let's actually just add some more shadow to this one. And then blend it in over here. blend this part out too. There's something funny going on with that color layering. Okay. Next up, right, the plaid pattern on the dress, or plaid. I think I have a couple of them here. Oh yeah. We are spoiled for choice. Let's go with this one. Okay, here's what let's do. I'm going to set this to maybe screen, and that way when we add some shading here, it'll come through. Okay, nice, nice, nice. Perfect. Okay, then we're going to move on to the other part of the dress, and then that's just going to be... Okay, there we go. Perfect. Okay, let's work on the leggings real quick. Okay, I kind of understand the vision. Okay, then we can just add a little bit of... Hang on, we're going to shrink the layer, or shrink the selection a little bit. And we're just going to use the airbrush to just douse a little bit of this on top. Nice. All right. Okay. We can add a little bit of extra flavoring to the wheat real quick. Well, I guess it is wheat flavored, but, you know, a little bit of extra shading to the wheat stock. Okay. Actually, we should add a little highlight to the lip gloss too. Or lipstick. I think it was like a pretty matte I don't know. There was some shining on from the bottom rim. I should have paid attention to that. From the bottom lip. Perfect. Okay, then the next part is the little jewel here. Actually, something that I wanted to do real quick is to just add a small gradient to this. Just so that it pops a little bit more. Oh, actually, you did a really cool effect here where Leo made like this kind of like lime color and then hit it with the white. Very nice. That really makes it pop. Okay. The boots, I think, are what's next on the chopping block. And of course the chair, but we'll deal with the chair. Yeah, I forgot I did that. I totally get it, man. Sometimes you just like enter this like very flowy state, right? Where you are just like completely locked in and your hands are moving so fast that like 3 hours later you're like, damn, I'm goated. How the fuck did I do that? It really does happen. Like sometimes you just like draw out of your mind for a few hours and then like you wake up later like, oh god, how did I do that? Like it really drains you, but the results speak for themselves. Okay, then over here. Actually, I should have a shading color for this one. Yeah, up here. Okay. The next part. Oh, right. The other part over here. I'm losing track of which colors I used for which part. Okay, this one needs to use this color. Okay, then over here. There's something so soothing about shading shoes. I don't know. It's like they're slightly different from normal clothing in that they're a little bit more rigid, so you have a little bit more of an expectation for how the fabric and shadow will behave. Especially if you get like polished ones, those have like such interesting patterns in terms of how they reflect light, but they're ultimately they look similar from certain angles. So it's kind of fascinating to try to apply that knowledge with like a slightly different light source. It's the same reason I like drawing metal, I think. Or I enjoy shading metal. Although that one is a bit more of a labor of love. What I might do real quick is just get a secondary shading color. It's like a slightly darker one for sections like this, this. Perfect. And then we can use the what do you call, the gouache brush to just add a little bit of texture going down. Perfect. Okay. Something that I noticed while I was working on the shoes is that we do still need to add some shading to the stitches. Scattered around in the various places. But that's easy enough to do. I like how the ones on the arms and the ones on the hat ended up having slightly different textures, and I think that's good because, like, it... I don't know, if the goal of the hat and everything is to look like it's a bunch of fabric kind of stapled together, it's achieving that look. But, like, the skin has a much different texture than, like, what you would make a hat out of. And I like them looking a little bit less defined, you know, like, I like how the skin ones are lineless, for example, while the hat ones are, like, lined. I don't know. I always like it when it ends up like that, where there feels like there's a significant, or at least a consistent pattern between things to, like, establish a strong language of symbols within the work. Like, one that I remember very clearly was from the Edgar Wright movie Baby Driver. And I didn't even realize this while I was watching the movie, but like an analysis I read of it was like, oh yeah, they use lighting a lot. Whenever things are going the main character's way, the screen and the surroundings have like an emphasis on like red objects or like red lights or red lighting. But when things are bad for him, or when they're about to be bad for him, there's a lot more emphasis on blue. And just having that as a motif going through, I don't know, even if you don't notice it, I think it adds something very rich to the work. The kind of like intentionality that you feel rewarded for when you notice it, or when you feel you admire when you hear about it. I don't know. I'm a big sucker for attention to little details. I just think it's neat when they sneak something cool in there. Okay, and then over here. Okay, and then back here. Okay, that should do it for the character shading. Now we just need to shade the furniture. Which I find is easier said than done when it's like very simple furniture like this. I mean, I guess I could slap a gradient on it. I wish instead of having fallen in love drawing like Goku or something growing up, I would have fallen in love with drawing tables. My birch chair and table. Hard. Birch is low-key an unmatched material. Like, I don't know, something about it just feels very timeless, very classy. You know, like oak and pine, they both have slightly different flavors, maybe a little bit outdated. You know, maybe they don't quite like fit in anymore. You know, but birch is like one of those like very inoffensive trees that just never goes out of style. Mahogany is a little bit of a try-hard wood, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like mahogany is very fancy and it is very beneficial in terms of like its building capacities, but I do feel like it is a little bit of a try-hard type wood. Okay, then over here. Okay, then over here. Just a little bit of a highlight in a couple of places. My cat keeps bugging me and asking him why, and I'm asking him why, and it's because he can see his reflection in the food bowl. Bro is like the anti-Narcissus. Bro saw his reflection in the pool of water and was like, "Get that the fuck away from me." I do not fuck with that at all. Okay, and then grabbing this, doing it like this. It is funny to think that, like, if all of the classic Greek tragedy stories had, like, slightly different protagonists who had, like, slightly different values, they would still ended up having suffered some way. Just, like, in a way that we wouldn't have thought of. I feel like that's probably been something that's been explored by at least a few other people. I remember somebody once saying that, like, every character in Death Note is in like a different series, except for Nier, who is in fact in Death Note, or not Nier, L, or no, I do think his name was Nier actually. The white-haired protege of L's. Okay, and maybe like this. Okay, we can kind of swing a gradient here. Foreground to background. Okay, and what's it look like with the wood texture on top? Honestly, I'm liking that a lot. Okay, maybe we can just use a... That color doesn't seem quite right. That I'm kind of liking that one. Green doesn't seem to be really what I'm hoping for. Honestly, I like this one. Let's use that. Okay. Oh, right, the plot on the dress, too. I forgot about that. Maybe I could just kind of, like, do like this. Hang on. I've got an idea. There we go. Okay. Right, and also one more thing, the eyes. I wanted to add an effect here to like make the eyes look, have that little it's so fucking good. I love it. That makes me really happy to hear. I'm glad that you like it. But yeah, there we go. Just a little bit of emphasis on the eyes, and what the heck is that? There we go. Actually, maybe let me stack a couple of other ones on there. There we go. All right. Okay. Is anybody else streaming today? I mean, 9 p.m. on a Tuesday night is kind of a strange time to be streaming. Your coloring is killer? Thank you! Okay, who is streaming? I think there's like a couple of people. Can I recommend someone if you got no one? Yeah, go ahead. Nice work, soldier. Thanks, Sergeant. You couldn't see it because of the PNG, but I am saluting. Let's see here. Okay, I'm gonna wait. Hang on. That's a crazy ass username, but I respect that shit. All right, let's go right Peach. All right. Thanks everybody for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Thanks again to Sif and Acreus Oakshot for the raid. And yeah, have a good night. Talk to you later. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.